Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League Tier 2 in partnership with gridfinder.com. We are here for the penultimate round, round 14 of the Brazilian Grand Prix, or the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, whichever one you prefer. But we have both titles still very much alive in terms of fights. And joining me in the commentary box as per normal is Bruce Lee Harding. Good evening, Bruce. How are you?
Hola, boa noite. Not bad, mate. Thanks. As you say, two championships still well up for grabs here, and the drivers won. Potential for it to be decided tonight, but hopefully it can go all the way down to the wire to the last race of the season.
Yeah, I see the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, and it looks a little bit cloudy for qualifying, but still dry. Qualifying, if it's dry, quite important around Brazil.
Yeah, definitely. It's a short lap. It's quite a technical circuit. The mid section difficult to overtake, so you are relying really on the run down to turn 1 and turn 4 as your main overtaking spots. So being high up the grid is very important. Quite difficult to overtake. So all the guys will be eyeing to get as far up the field as they can, and obviously Ruddo and Ivan are going to be wanting to be on the front row, I'm sure.
I mean, actually, speaking of Ivan and Ruddo, those are the two fighting for the championship. Whilst Blackside's out on an outlap, do you want to take us through the championship?
Absolutely, yeah. So in the driver standings at the moment, it's very, very tight now between Ivan and Ruddo after a string of wins for Ruddo. Ruddo now only 7 points behind the championship leader of Ivan. Owen now sneaks up to third place on 76 points, so obviously he's out of the championship fight. It is just a straight fight between Ivan and Ruddo. Lewis de Beeker in fourth with JC Batagor in fifth. Scotty and Kuiper's not racing with us, but they are still 6th and 7th. Ginger Tiger 8th, so a chance for him to move up the leaderboard tonight with a good result. Matty Rudd 9th and Ricey Spicy in 10th. And in the constructors, only a 7-point gap in the drivers, but only 4 points between Haas and McLaren in the constructors. Alpine sitting quite pretty in third on 98 points, long way back from McLaren, so again just a two-way fight at the front. With Red Bull and Ferrari very close to each other as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go on board with Matty Rudd as we come up towards the start-finish line. Down the main straights. 4.3 kilometres long for the circuit, into the centre S at turn 1 and 2. Hug the inside, try and open up the second part as much as you can as you then go through the Curva de Sol for turn 3. Down the Retta Aposta, DRS open, and a potential overtaking spot down here into the Descida de Lago, turns 4 and 5. Get through 4 nicely and open up the throttle for 5 as you head up towards Ferradura and Laranha. Just a really double apex long right-hander, even those two corners. Into S, and it's just, again, where's the hairpins now? So second, third gear. Pinarino, nice bit of banking there. You can get on the throttle a bit early in the dry. Bico to Pato, probably the worst one for spinning because of just how tight it is. The Mergulio, it should be just about flat in qualifying before you head into Juncao. Very important corner this. You've got to get the exit to then carry the speed up through 13, 14, 15. Offit Red has retired. That looks like he's on circuit. Up to the line for Matty Rudd. What's it going to be? It's a 108.6 to go provisional pole for now.
Yeah, just on board there with Atsu. He's just come past the scene of Offit Red's incident. It's just on I can't remember the name of the corner, just a long tight left in the middle of the complex, in the middle of the lap, and looks like he's just got maybe on the curve on the outside and just picked up the throttle a bit too early and spun to the inside straight into the wall. So not a rare place to see an incident, but we saw last night in Tier 3 no safety cars at all, no incidents. All the retirements were pit lane retirements. So a bit of a strange race last night in that regard. So it'd be interesting to see whether this sort of follows that trend tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, obviously we talk about the two title fights as well, and a positive for McLaren is there is no Keza tonight. Ivan is on his own, so this is a big chance for the McLarens to try and get some form of grasp on that title. Obviously, Ruddo doing Ruddo things and looking like he's only going to go for 2 runs in qualifying.
Yeah, Ivan normally goes for just the 2 runs. He has done a lap on mediums. So whether or not it's just a practicing, a Rick and Mario also currently going around on medium tyres as well. So maybe these guys just haven't had the time to get some practice in, so they just thought they'd do a few laps on mediums, come in and then bolt the softs on for a couple of runs towards the end.
JC Brattigal goes up into 3rd place. He's on a nice bit of form at the moment, it's JC Brattigal, which is good to see. He is a quick, decent driver. He just hasn't had the luck at the start of the season, but it's good to see this almost upward trend of form for him.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely picked up well the latter half of this season, and as you say, he's up to now 5th in the championship, and a great chance really to get up to 4th tonight. I think with a good result, so he'll be looking for that, I'm sure. But we saw last night in Tier 3 how close the times were, and just a couple of tenths lost in qualifying was a drop of about 4 or 5 places on the grid. So it'll be interesting to see again if that's the same tonight in Tier 2. I'm expecting, with this being as competitive as it is, for that to be the case, and especially with such a short lap.
Yeah, there's Kent coming up to the line now. Interesting. He's actually managed to invalidate his lap on the actual main straight, which is quite impressive from the Alpine driver. I'm not quite sure what sort of line he was taking there through that last corner of turn 15.
Yeah, not easy that, unfortunately. And I'm on board with Pampone, who's just spun at turn 2, so he's gone round. And he's on his way again now, so I'm sure he'll now just try and get some recharge back in the car, ready for another hit in a second.
And the other driver on a fast lap at the moment is Fox Blue 1884. Obviously, he's been a reserve for most of the year. I think this is his first outing. He's in that Alpha Tauri. It'll be interesting to see how he stacks up compared to everyone who's been doing it week in, week out. Up to the line he comes. I don't think it's going to be a mega quick time. It's a 108.492 to go second.
So yeah, that's definitely put him right in the mix there. A very, very good lap on his first attempt, and as you say, having not raced most of this season or this season at all, you'd think it would put him a little bit behind the other guys, but clearly not. Clearly he's been on the game enough for that to not be an issue.
Yeah, I guess it depends what else you do. Like, in terms of other racing and leagues, Ruddo is on an outlap now, so we get the first glance of what the McLaren's going to be able to do.
But just now starting his second run now. Sorry, JP.
That's actually fine. We'll have a watch of Pampone. I think this is second outing for Pampone, I believe. First one at Austin, Texas, for the American Grand Prix. He's in the Red Bull.
I think he may have done a couple of races with us this season. So, but yeah, great to see him back. And he's round again.
It just looks like he's struggling with the sort of almost like the elevation changes around here. As soon as you get over like a bit of a crest or a little bit of a compression and the car goes a bit light, it just seems like this back end just doesn't want to stick for him. As you go around
he's struggling now with the overheated tyres, I think, now, unfortunately. But yeah, I think maybe a sign of a setup maybe not quite right or quite suiting him. He went very, very late on the corner. Normally you tend to go a bit earlier there. But it looked like it was all well in control and just snapped round. So Ruddo going very, very slowly on his lap, so I'm not sure what's happened there.
I think he might be going for a second warm-up, because I was I was following up the main straight and he didn't put his ERS on. So I wonder if he's actually going for a second warm-up, trying to get those tyres in a better window.
Interesting tactic. I mean, most people would be concerned about the tyre wear then going into that second lap, but it will be interesting to see how this works for him.
Obviously, we have Blackside returning after his after having to sit out of the last race. He's up in 9th at the moment. Obviously, Ivan crosses the line, goes pole position, 108.361. Not exactly miles ahead of the pack as we've seen in the past with Ivan.
And Ryan slots into second with 1,000th of a second behind Ivan, so incredibly close times there between them. And obviously Ginger Tiger only 100th down Ivan as well. So yeah, I think Ivan will be pleased to be at the front, but I think going on recent form, he'd have expected to be maybe slightly further ahead of everyone.
Meanwhile, Roddo is on his first lap now.
Ivan a lot of traffic ahead of him.
Yeah, and it's the wrong place to have traffic as well around here. Luckily, that the Alpine of Kent gets out of the way.
Good driving there from the two guys getting out of the way. That was really, really good.
I don't know. I don't know who that is in front. I don't know if that might be Ryan in front of him. But also Ryan's actually pushing on his in-lap here to make sure he doesn't get in the way of that McLaren. And it might actually give Roddo a bit of a tow up towards the line here.
Yeah, he's definitely, he's probably just about within region of getting the tow there. There's not a lot, but and he moves for the tow as well, does Roddo. So here we go. He's tight to the wall. And yeah, 108.3.
So provisional pole position for now for the McLaren. Fox Blue coming up to the line. I think he's just starting a lap for the AlphaTauri. Blackside is on another lap. I'm not quite sure. His tyres 2 laps. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. I think that might be for Roddo moving out of the way for Kent to allow Kent past whilst he's on a flying lap. So, I mean, this is probably one of the worst circuits in qualifying for being impeded, and the drivers are definitely doing a good job here to not block anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure Roddo would have been maybe slightly put off by where the guys were, but I mean, they did all they could. They couldn't really get out of the way any better than they did. Just a great job from them, showing great awareness. But I think we'll still see some times tumble. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 107. I think by the end of this qualifying session.
I mean, it's funny you should say that because last season, PlayStation F2 League, the pole position was set by SFR Martin in a Alpine, and he done a 107.933.
Yeah, we have seen. Well, there we go. Fox Blue. Yeah.
He takes the goes faster than last season, 107.913.
Yeah, we have seen over this season, obviously the second season currently on F1 22 rather, a bit ahead of myself.
JC Pascal's way off the road, and a quick reset to track. That's not going to help his cause there, I don't think.
No, not at all. Yeah, no, we have seen in the second running on second season on this game that the times have improved from the previous season. So yeah, obviously Fox Blue showing that, but I think we could see a few guys getting a lot closer to him than they currently are.
Matty Rudd just coming through to Cedar Delago up towards Ferradura. Obviously, this corner kind of almost famous because Hamilton crashed here in qualifying one year in the Mercedes. Bit of a shock to everyone considering how good he is around Brazil. But through Pinarino and up towards Bico Tapato. And Matty Rudd, he's been doing a solid job this season. He's had a few bad races. Obviously, he's missed a couple for having a bit of a slap on his wrist. But generally speaking, when he's finished well, and he has helped Roddo win races, intentional or not.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, they've been they've worked well as a team, as have Ivan and Keza. Really, they've done some great team driving to aid what we would class, I suppose, as the number one driver. They may argue it themselves, but yeah, there's been some brilliant support from the teammates all through. I'm just currently watching Rick and Murray. He's just invalidated his lap, unfortunately, because he's only done laps on mediums so far. Looking to go on the softs now, but. Yeah, an invalidation, but it seems.
So actually goes
also,
on.
Darryl pops up to 8th. So they're currently the highest of our Tier 3 drivers in the lobby. Right?
Yeah, good stuff from Daryl. Obviously, he didn't have a good race last night, but then I don't know what the conditions are like for tonight. But I suspect they could well be very different to yesterday.
Yeah, the weather minion has confirmed once again a dry race all the way through, it looks like.
It's quite interesting. We haven't had many changeable conditions or wetter races this season for Tier 2. We've had a couple, but nowhere near as many as the other tiers, I don't think.
No, I suppose that's just luck of the draw of the random weather, really, isn't it? But yeah, it would be good to see something to challenge them, extra little bit of jeopardy in the races. But the drivers can only deal with what's thrown at them, and dry is what it seems it is tonight. I don't know if
I think Ivan's just
Murray.
gone off at Ferrajora and Larinia. He's just lost the back end going over the crest, and that's not going to help him. I mean, especially on the basis that he's already used up half of his ERS allocation.
No, absolutely. It's and that's potentially going to knock the confidence slightly as well going into the race. Especially when you're on the slightly harder compounds of tyres, whether or not you think you're going to stumble across that issue again. I'm just currently watching Atsu, who's currently stuck in neutral. I'm not sure what's going on. I think maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure as to what's happening there, but there we go. Matty Rudd's in second. Did we say that? Did we miss that completely?
I didn't miss it. I did spot it on the screen as he crossed the line. It was a good lap from him. Problem is now, obviously, unless he gets out of the pits right now, that's his lap time for the session. Meanwhile, Ruddo, his teammate, championship contender, he is on a lap at the moment, going up through sector 2 into S and into Pinarino. Third gear, just constantly having to wait to get that throttle in with these long hairpins. As you go into Pico to Pato and down towards Magulio, what's his sector looking like after sector 2? That is the big question. He's quarter of a second up, so not quite enough to take pole position at the moment, but depending on what his setup's like, he could pull a little bit more time through this final sector, up to the line, keep it to the left hand side for the shortest run to the line. It is a 107.995, not quite fast enough.
Great effort though, still from Ruddo. Matty Rudd's obviously in the pit, so he's done now. And Ginger Tiger up to second place. What an effort.
Good time then from the Mercedes. He's been on song the last few races as well as Ginger Tiger pace-wise. Ivan Belov is having to go for another lap. He is on reduced ERS in comparison, unless he's somehow miraculously managed to gain it all back. I don't know whether you might have done another warm-up, potentially got away with it.
He has a little less need of hope for, let's just say that, on the ERS side of things. But still, I think he's still got a chance to improve here.
That's who's crossed the line. 10th place for him. I believe Fox Blue is going even quicker than he was before. Up to the line for the AlphaTauri driver in his first race. It's going to be a 107.786, and Ivan's going to have to pull something special out of the bag here if he wants to get this pole position and get that 2-car advantage over.
So sector suggests maybe fourth. Fourth it is.
Yeah, so he does not get into those 107s. Obviously, those tyres would be slightly more worn, and as you say, as Ryan now takes fourth place with a 108.0.
Yeah, another car there in between Ruddo and in between Rick and Murray, who's 8/10 up, so I think he may slot into 9th here potentially, but he'll be disappointed. He invalidated his previous lap, so yeah, he'll still be last chance saloon here, and was 7th place in the end.
It's not bad from from Ricky Maru. Good recovery that, but it is Fox Blue 1884 who on debut takes pole position, which is very impressive considering the caliber driver we've got in Tier 2.
Yeah, definitely. Just shows really if he was available all season, whether or not he could have been challenging with Ivan and Rado. But like as you say, fantastic effort, but still very, very close all the way down. Top 13 there, all covered by 9/10 of a second. Very tight.
Bruce, would you like to take us through the grid order for the Brazilian Grand Prix?
Absolutely, yeah. So as you say, Fox Blue on debut on pole position in the AlphaTauri, just ahead of a fantastic second place in quali for Ginger Tiger. Ruddo in third with Ryan in fourth. Championship leader Ivan in fifth with Ruddo's teammate Matty Rudd alongside him in sixth. Rick and Mario seventh. JC Batical eighth. Blackside ninth. Kent in 10th. Darrell 11th. Pampo in 12th. Atsu 13th. And JP and Optic Red not set in times in qualifying.
So we're going to head towards the race. Once again, the teapot mechanics are out and about.
I think Darrell was the highest of the Tier 3 guys, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And a good time as well, so yeah, he'll be looking to... I know he didn't have the best race last night, struggled in the slippery conditions, so he'll be looking to make amends tonight and have a good clean race, hopefully.
Yeah, it's obviously any Tier 3 drivers aren't scoring points in this. But as we said before, it's quite a nice... It'd be a good confidence booster for Darrell going into the last round of the Tier 3 Championship, just to get a decent finish here and almost kind of forget what happened last night.
Yeah, absolutely, and he also obviously races RP on a Thursday as well, so there's a bit of extra practice for that as well. But yeah, I think the Tier 3 guys have done well. They've shown themselves well. They're obviously a bit of a shame for JP and Ophic Red, but Darrell and Atsu there, fairly competitive. But looking forward to the Tier 2 stuff. Roddo's going to be happy that he's got a car in between him and Ivan. I wonder whether or not they'll be looking. I know you can look at tyres the other guys are on before the start of the race, whether they'll be looking at that. Maybe Matty will just stick on the mediums just to try and get ahead of Ivan at the start in case Ivan is on hard tyres. So could be quite a few little strategies off the start line. Maybe not beneficial to individual races, but on a team perspective could be a lot more handy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Obviously, with Matty Rudd next to Ivan as well, that's going to pose a bit of a threat to the Haas team, not only in constructors but also Ivan, because if Matty Rudd gets a good start, it's going to allow once again Ruddo a nice bit of a gap, as we're getting about 25 seconds away from green flag racing. Yeah,
it's got the makings of a great race. This a bit of a mixed up grid from what we used to see in recent weeks as well. So Rick Amaru a bit further down than he'd expect to be, so I can see him coming up through the field a little bit as well. He's been in fantastic form recently. So here we go.
So 1 second, here we go. We have the 5 red lights, and we are green for the Brazilian Grand Prix. The question is, who's got the best getaway? And it looks like Fox Blue has definitely got the best getaway.
Matty Rudd
up into third, fighting Ivan down the inside, and he's gone to the car. Ruddo's gone for a move on Fox Blue, bit of contact through the centre S. Everyone just about gets through. Here comes Ivan back on Matty Rudd. Matty Rudd getting boxed in behind his teammate and has allowed the Haas back up into third place. And Ivan already looking to try and make a move on Ruddo. But Ruddo just about fending off the Haas for now. And Ryan's come out of nowhere and he's now in front of the Haas for third place. And Matty Rudd looking for a gap up towards Ferrajura, but couldn't quite find one. Would have been a very ambitious move into the double right-hander, but everyone else has settled down. JC Battigal has spun or something in the back, I'm not quite sure. Pampoen and Darrell side by side, sister teams Red Bull and AlphaTauri, and Pampoen getting the move done up into 9th place. Meanwhile, JP and Atsu, a T3 fight as Atsu actually just lost 3 positions going into Pico de Pato. But everyone looks to have calmed down now, and Bruce can probably get some words in now.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't see what happened to JC Battigal, but yeah, as you say, he was nosed up against the barrier between turn 1 and 2, so a bit of a disaster for him. He's had to do a little bit of auto testing to get back out of there. So a long way back down the field. Atsu in the pits as well, so I assume he has front wing damage, or maybe suffering with problems.
Let's just have a quick look, because no one really... I say that's Pampoen getting close to Ricky Maru. Looks like a new front wing for Atsu. Meanwhile, Pampoen down the inside of Ricky Maru into Desida Delago, and the Red Bull up into 8th place. He's had a good start here as Pampoen. And let's have a look at the tyres. The majority of the field on medium tyres, Fox Blue on the hards, which would explain why Ruddo almost had a chance at him through the centre S on lap 1. But otherwise, Ricky Maru, Darrell, JP, Offick and JC Battigal the only ones other than Fox Blue on the hard compound. So everyone looking to go fast early on.
Absolutely. I mean, Matty Rudd probably just had one of the best launches of the season we've seen, I think. And very unfortunate for him to end up back in 5th. I think just the way people were positioned, it just gave him a bit of an issue trying to get through. I think he tried to give... his teammate Ruddo some space as well, as it looks like Ruddo very close again to Fox Blue, but Ruddo's got to be careful here. Obviously Fox Blue not in the championship as such. Obviously he'll score points, but he's not in the championship fight, so Ruddo doesn't want to try anything iffy and end up getting spun round, whether that's through a mistake of his own or whatnot. So yeah, he's got to be careful.
Matty Rudd was very much looking at Ivan as Offick gets past JP911, who we know has had to do a bit of repairing. He's actually had to do some maintenance on his wheel and pedal set tonight. So he's just looking to make sure that's all okay. Darrell's all over the back of Ricky Maru. Ricky Maru doesn't seem quick at the moment. I don't know whether it's because he just doesn't like these hard tyres, or maybe the car is set up more towards the mediums, and this is kind of like the price he's having to pay at the start.
Yeah, perhaps he's going to have to play the long game here on these hard tyres, isn't he? He's, obviously, as you say, he's a bit off the pace of the guys in front, but they are on the mediums. He's probably going to have to wait till around lap 10 or 11 before the crossover happens, I should imagine. So he's just got to try and stick with them as best he can. And
meanwhile, Ruddo around the outside of Fox Blue into the centre S, and he's got the move made. Obviously mediums to hard versus hard tyres, and now Ruddo's got the job. He needs to escape, but Fox Blue's going to have DRS going down towards Desida Delago, and Fox Blue will retake that place for now. And you kind of feel for Ruddo that he might need to think about making this move down towards Desida Delago to then be able to use the mediums in the corners to build a gap.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, a great move, but it just leaves you susceptible then down the next straight down to turn 4. So, he'll learn from that now, I'm sure, and try a different approach to this now to try and get past Fox Blue. But the longer Fox Blue can stay in front here on these hards, the better it's going to be for him, because eventually he's going to be on the quicker tyre and he could just disappear into the sunset.
Absolutely, and he's got a nice long train behind him, an 8 long DRS train forming. Got yellow flags. That looks like Kent has gone round at Shunkao. Here comes Ruddo once more, following Fox Blue, goes to the outside. He's got to play this smart. He does. Sits in behind the AlphaTauri through 1. We'll get the DRS for the detection through 2, and out of 3, DRS will open, and this is Ruddo's golden opportunity here. He's going to be sent the long way around, but that doesn't matter. He's done before the braking zone, and the McLaren into the lead.
So yeah, his task now really is to get that 1 second gap before the DRS zone now. It can be tricky still, because Fox Blue's got great pace even on those hard tyres. I think his best hope now is that Fox Blue starts getting attacked a little bit from behind by Ryan and Ivan. But at the moment, we're looking at 2 cars currently between Ruddo and Ivan. It's massive in the championship.
Yeah, it is a huge thing, obviously. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. Is it 6? Is it 6 points between them going into
7
tonight?
points. 7 points going into tonight. Yeah.
So 7 points. So obviously, Ruddo definitely needs cars. I think Kent's gone off at Ferragura and Larinia. He's having a bit of a mare.
So he nearly gets beats on the outside of the corner, but just about hops over the little bit of camber there. So yeah, gets away with that one.
Ruddo will be looking for a good traction out of the Senna S though, to make sure Fox Blue can't come back at him down towards Decidelago. I think he might have just about enough of a gap there, half a second. This is good for him.
Good launch out the corner there. So yeah, he's got that gap, and now he'll be looking to build another few tenths, and then the lap after that another few tenths, just to break that DRS. But it's tricky around here. It can be very, very tricky.
It's very tricky, and one thing I'm surprised at the moment, Darrell's still behind Ricky Maroon. Now we know Darrell doesn't tend to like necessarily interfering with the tier 2 drivers, because obviously he's not scoring any points, but you feel at some point he's going to have to try and make this move on the Mercedes.
Yeah, I did note on lap 1 that Darrell was staying away. He was giving everyone a wide berth just to avoid any issues, but obviously the race has settled down now, and for me at this point now, you're kind of free to race really, and you wouldn't blame him if he went for that move.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Ryan is getting very close to the back of Fox Blue here. Although it's fair to say Ruddo's not exactly dropping Fox Blue at the rate he really needs to at the moment. He is, he's gained about another 10th compared to the last lap, heading on to the DRS straight towards Decidelago, but I was expecting him to maybe build that gap a little bit faster, but those mediums aren't going to be... They're not going to be bad, but they're not going to be exactly good at this stage either.
No, as you say, Fox Blue's doing a great job of hanging onto the back, aided a little bit by DRS, but there's no mistake in that he's got the pace in the middle sector, even though he's on the harder tyres. So, great work from him as well at the moment. It would be interesting to see if Ryan can get past him, whether Ryan can challenge Ruddo as well on the same compound. They all look a bit racy here, even Matty Rudd, black sides in the queue, Ginger Tiger. We're basically in a DRS train all the way down to 8th at the moment.
Yeah, righto, 7.5 tenths coming out of Junção. That'll get split down, but here comes Ryan. Ryan to the inside, heading up towards the centre S. This is what Ruddo needs. He needs these two to battle. And they're going to go side by side. And Ryan completes the move. He's a little bit wide through Curva de Sol, but that's absolutely fine because he's got the grip to do it. So now Ruddo and Ryan is the battle for the lead, and Fox Blue, you feel playing this a little bit crafty, not necessarily fighting too hard as JC Battigal gets past Offic Red for 12th.
Yeah, I'd say with Fox Blue, he doesn't have to fight. He's on the hard tyres. The race is going to come to him a little bit later on anyway. So, even if he drops down to 5th, maybe 6th, he's still going to be in a fantastic position come the end of the race.
So through the middle sector, Ruddo's still just managing this gap, although slightly harder now that with Ryan on the same tyres as him. But they are somewhat starting to drop Fox Blue a little bit more, and Fox Blue is going to be under pressure from Ivan as we head down the main straight.
Yeah, Ivan is looking racy. He's looking slightly quicker than Fox Blue at the moment. Will Fox Blue show him to the outside? He does show him to the outside. Bit risky coming back across under braking there, to be honest. There's a risk of contact. But all good, they're all still going. And Matty Rudd is now very close to Ivan as well, but Ivan does have the DRS to help him down the straight.
So down to Decidelago. And the big thing, I think the biggest thing here is that Blackside is now the break in this DRS train. He's now created a new one as he's 1.2 behind Matty Rudd.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I may have seen him go slightly deep into one of the corners Blackside, and it was just enough to just drop a few tenths, and obviously he was around the 6-7 tenth region anyway, so that's just dropped him out, as you say, and yeah, not ideal. I'm suspect he may be possibly trying to burn some ERS to catch back up with the queue, because I think once you're out of this DRS, you're kind of a bit stuck then, really.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to catch back up. I mean, I think if you can, it's fluctuating that gap. Detection point's just up here. I think he's just about inside it, 8.5 tenths.
Ryan is close to Ruddo. I think he's going to get a move done. I don't think Ruddo's even tried fighting that one yet. Thinking smart, thinking work together at this stage of the race, I think.
Yeah, time to play a little bit of leapfrog by the looks of it. Trade off each other as JP picks up a 3-second time penalty for track infringements. And Ruddo, I don't think he's going to look for a move in to see Delago. Ryan's got some good pace in that Ferrari. Ninja Tiger just looking at the back of Blackside, but see, Blackside has managed to get himself back inside that window, so we are still 8-car DRS train.
And, you know, Rick and Mario was not dropping too far off the back of this queue either, despite it looked like he was struggling at the start. 3.2 seconds is not a lot of time to be away from the guys in front. So yeah, every chance Rick and Mario, even though he's in 9th at the moment, he's still got a good chance of a good result, I think, as has Darrell.
Well, I mean, I think anything can happen, and look at the gap Ryan's taken out of Ruddo. Now, I don't know whether that's because Ryan is burning ERS and trying almost like a Nick Justin strategy from T1, in which Nick would normally burn a lot of ERS to try and get outside the 1 second and go and get going. But he was up by quite a margin. Obviously, since that DRS zone, Ruddo's pulled it back into within half a second, and that's going to be probably about 3 tenths by the time we entered to see Delago.
Yeah, I was a little bit concerned there for Matty Rudd that he was going to drop off the bat. He had a slight wiggle through turn 1 and 2, but he's managed to keep the momentum going. Still only 6 tenths behind Ivan in front, and Matty's playing a patient game here. He could well interfere with strategies a little bit now, because obviously he's not going to. Oh, that's Blackside, I think. Blackside round.
It is, and that's up at S. Just I think he's probably spun that going through Ferradura. Because obviously it does carry you quite a long way when you spin through Ferradura and Larinia.
It's one of those helpless ones, especially when you get on the grass on the inside as well. It's just so slow, and you're just a bit of a passenger, really.
I mean, the biggest downside really isn't for. Well, I mean, obviously it is for Blackside because he's lost positions, but it now means as Kent retires in the pits, a bit of a shame for him. He's had a bit of a nightmare tonight. Nothing's really seemed to go his way here at Sao Paulo. But for Ginger Tiger, it now means he doesn't have any DRS now. And he not only becomes vulnerable to Pampoen, but it means he's going to struggle to stay with the top 5 now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Whilst it is a place gained, it's probably going to solidify him around that sort of position in the race. Excuse me, overall. Unless something drastic happens, because, as you say, he's just sort of now kind of almost in no man's land. You know, it's frustrating for him because he can see how close he is to the guys in front, but it's so close yet so far.
And some news from the trenches from Kent. Apparently his downshift stopped working. He was in 8th gear for 2 laps. I mean, it's one way not to lose time of shifting gears, but I suspect the acceleration isn't quite there. Not ideal, unfortunately, and no choice there for Kent but to retire. A bit of a shame, really. It's a bit of a disaster for the Alpine team. Pampoen is past Ginger Tiger. He is aided by some DRS, but Ginger Tiger's going to have his. Yeah, Ginger Tiger's going to have both of them harvesting, clipping, but Ginger Tiger back down the inside to see Delago. This could be a race-long battle between these two, both on the same compounded tyre. And Pampoen, he has a little look in Ferradura. Probably not an advisable place to make a move.
It's not the easiest place to meet. You have to be pretty crazy, but the fact now that they're now fighting each other, and they just dropped over a second on just that one move, really. So, if there was any proof that they were going to struggle to catch these guys in front, I think that's been pretty firmly nailed into the ground now.
It has been. It's really bizarre. These gaps at the front, they keep fluctuating. You can see every driver has their different sector of strength. And it is causing a bit of a fluctuation in times. But Fox Blue is in a little bit of danger here of falling outside DRS. I mean, he's going to be in it down to Lago, but as Pampoen once again goes past Ginger Tiger into turn number 1. But yeah, if he keeps, he looks like he's starting to fight with Ivan. If he keeps doing that, he's going to fall out of that DRS and make it easy for the Haas.
Yeah, absolutely. He was at one point there coming up to that DRS section. It was over 1 second. I think as he went through the, he may have burnt a little bit of ERS, and as he went through the detection zone, he just about got back under a second. That's a yellow flag. That is
Offic red.
Offic.
Just probably taking a bit too much curb through 2 and losing the rear end through the centre S. But the fight really is at the front, and we haven't had too many races like this where you can pretty much see the top 5 in one shot, and all within that coveted 1 second.
No, absolutely. It's great to see, but proving the point that we made earlier, that it's very difficult to overtake around here, especially when you're in a bit of a DRS train like this. And Pampoen and Ginger Tiger both in the pits. I'm not sure if that's for tyres or just to recharge their ERS a little bit, but they're in anyway. Yeah,
so they're the first to stop them. 14 laps on those medium tyres, everyone else going longer.
It would be interesting to see what the McLarens do here, because obviously they cannot pit on the same lap because they're so close to each other. Whether or not Matty will just follow Ivan, follow what Ivan does maybe, so he can come out and still be within DRS of Ivan.
I could see that maybe. I could see that maybe Ruddo, obviously, Ruddo will naturally get first pick, being the lead car in this race. But I could also see that if Ruddo doesn't pit, Ivan does. Matty will, as you say, will be under instruction to follow him.
Yeah, big wiggle there for Matty again. He's struggling a little bit with traction now, but still clinging onto the back of this pack. Elsewhere throughout the field, really, we've got quite a few gaps at the moment. Obviously, a few guys done their pit stop, so that affects it a little bit. But yeah, this 5-car fight at the front really is the only real battles at the moment on circuit.
So through the centre S and the Curva de Sol once again for the 16th time in this race. And almost like from the beginning, the top 5 all in one shot, all fighting for this position. And it seems to me that Ruddo maybe now starting just to maybe bide his time with Ryan, maybe try not to push the tyres so hard. Because I can't imagine, around here, you don't really want to be on those hards. You want to be on them for probably as short a time as you can, because they're not necessarily the nicest things, especially if you have to get them warmed up.
Absolutely, yeah. And at the moment, the other issue they're going to have here is I think they could potentially come out in a bit of traffic as well, looking at the way the times fall down, the timesheets there. So they'll be wanting to maybe drag this out as long as they can to, and well, as I say, that in comes Ryan.
So the leader into the pits. No one else is going to follow him. And this could be quite interesting, actually, because Ryan might come out, but with no DRS. So it could be quite interesting to see if potentially Ryan loses a bit of time by not having that available extra on the car.
Yeah, black side in as well now into the pits. And Pampoen set the fastest lap
on hard compound.
Ryan's come out. He does come out in clear air, Ryan, so you can push now without any danger of being stuck behind anyone. So he's got a 5-second gap ahead of him. So it'd be interesting to see now on this lap what everyone decides to do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the overcut around here probably a little bit stronger because of this middle sector. And the fact that Ryan's got to get those tyres warmed up. I just get the sense that the overcut is going to be a little bit more powerful compared to other circuits. The question is, how many laps do you want? And Ruddo carrying on once again. Ivan stays out. Matty Rudd stays out. So the top four thinking the overcut is probably worth at least another lap.
Yeah, interesting to see how they all play this then, because they can't all keep going on forever. At some point, someone's going to have to bite the bullet and come in the pits. There's only so long that the overcut will work. At some point, the tyres are going to be so worn that it's just actually not going to be a viable option. So, yeah, I'd expect to see at least one of these of the three medium runners come in now on this lap.
Yeah, I mean, you have to feel Ruddo definitely has to come in to try and cover Ryan, because the overcut only tends to work for maybe 1, 2, possibly 3 laps at the most. Because by that second lap, Ryan's tyres should be up to temperature, and obviously with fresher rubber, it does tend to be a touch quicker. So I get the feeling that Ruddo might come in, but Matty Rudd's going to have to do another lap.
Ruddo is pulling away now, and he's going for another lap. He is actually pulling away from Fox Blue a little bit. Ivan in the pits.
And guess who's followed him in?
Yeah, so tactical here, definitely, I think, from McLaren for him to follow Ivan, because then it means he can harass Ivan a little bit. When he came out the pits, he was very close to running into the back of Ivan. Matty a lot more confident on the brakes coming into the pit lane there.
Yeah, he was right on the tail.
Ryan through turn 1 now.
So Ryan's made it out in front of these two, and
Quite
does
a
that
distance.
Does that kind of show that one lap for overcut was probably the most you wanted to go?
I mean, yeah, you're probably looking at, was Ruddo, was behind, wasn't he? So, yeah, I think that will tell Ruddo he needs to come in this lap. I think he absolutely has no choice but to come in this lap.
So Ruddo up the main straight, Fox Blue just behind, and in comes Ruddo. Fox Blue will inherit the lead for now, but that's a good stint from Ruddo. 18 laps on those mediums. It means he's going to have some nice fresher tyres in comparison to Ryan, but where is Ryan on circuit? He's just coming up through 14 and 15. I think he'll come out ahead of Ruddo here.
Yeah, Ruddo's going to come out in front of Ivan now. Sector 3 yellow flag, which looks like maybe black side or Offic red. Offic red rain.
Red, as you can, yeah. I mean, the biggest problem here for the McLarens is Matty Rudd's being hassled by Pampoen, which he done a great job sticking with Ivan into the pits, but he's not been able to stick with him out of the pits. Although, if he can stick within that second, he might be able to start to kind of poke and prod Ivan with the use of the DRS, as Offic Red unfortunately retires from this race.
Yeah, as you say, dropping out that 1 second now, not ideal for Matty. Not ideal for McLaren in general. They'd have loved for him to have got ahead of Ivan, but still, a long way to go in this race. Ivan now only 9/10 behind Ruddo as well, so I think this fight for the between the championship guys could be starting to hot up soon. And Pampoen down the inside of Matty.
DRS assisted. And you just see look how much time these two are losing to Ivan, who's got DRS on Ruddo. 2 seconds now, and this is taking Matty out of play to help Ruddo with the drivers. But again, a solid points result here from Matty Rudd will help them in the constructors.
Absolutely, yeah. Ivan's going to be delighted now that he's shaken off Matty and Pampoen, so he can just fully concentrate now on catching Ruddo. Be interesting to keep an eye on the gap between Ruddo and Ryan as well. Obviously, Ruddo's got 3 laps fresher tyres than Ryan, so come the end of the race, that could be important. Fox Blue going around for another lap, so he's very happy on these hard tyres at the moment.
Makes me wonder if Fox Blue is going to go for a bit of a Sunboy strategy. Is he going to try and make those hards last and chuck some softs on near the end? Because tyre wear around here isn't as bad as people would think on this game.
So he's got 18 seconds at the moment to Ryan. I'm not sure how long it is for Ivan setting fastest lap on the hard tyres, so it shows the pace he has on those. But yeah, I'm not sure how long a pit stop is around here, but the gap is coming down between Ryan and Foxblue, so he's got to be careful here, Foxblue, that he doesn't actually end up coming out in behind like Ruddo, Ivan, and Matty if he leaves it too long.
Yeah, it's a fine margin of taking that sort of gamble with the hards on how far you want to go into the race. Ruddo has closed a touch of that gap to Ryan, and even though Ivan has set the fastest lap, he's not really getting onto the back of Ruddo, even with that DRS assistance, and he's actually outside that 1 second.
Foxblue in the pits, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this goes now. I don't think he's going to come out in the lead. I mean, I'm probably going to be wrong, but I don't think he's going to be. Ricky in the pits as well.
Daryl's going to inherit the lead.
I think this is just for the cameras, this one, I think, from Daryl, but still, race leader nonetheless. I'm sure he'll be happy, even though he still has a pit stop to make.
So Foxblue just coming out of the pit lane. You can see him on the left-hand side, now on the right-hand side of your screen. He's going to come out behind Ivan, I think, here. And on the medium compound of tyre, you feel he's going to be very quick in comparison to those around him now. And he's in a pretty good position.
He's going to be quick, but we've seen how effective the DRS train is. So if these guys start to Constantine up a little bit, he could have a problem getting past people. If everyone has DRS, that's your main overtaking spot's gone. So, yeah, could be maybe a little bit too late, but yeah, we shall see how this one plays out. It's still 13 laps to go at the end of this lap, so plenty of time for a bit of change.
And just for the cameras, here is Daryl leading a Tier 2 race here at Brazil, and he is coming in the pits this lap. But, I mean, if you like the view of Daryl leading the Tier 2 Brazilian Grand Prix, I mean, definitely like the stream, because it's a good sight to see, as now JP911 leads this race.
Yeah, all the Tier 3 guys getting in the act here, wanting to get a taste of that first place, but Ryan obviously catching JP now. I think he'll be on him pretty quickly with the difference in tyre performance. Ruddo's still closing that gap to Ryan. It's not coming down massively fast, but I think towards the latter stage of this race, that's when you'll see the big difference. And Ivan still looking very, very racy there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the Tier 3 guys have forgotten that this isn't British touring cars. You don't get an extra lap for leading the race. You don't get an extra point for that in this. But it is good to see them in the mix of sorts. I mean, Daryl now 3.4 behind Ricky Maru, down in 10th. But Ruddo 1.1, he's taken 2/10 out of Ryan this lap. And Ryan, I'm very much surprised to see that he's not taking more time out of JP. I was expecting him to maybe be within DRS range of the leader.
Yeah, Ruddo now closing the gap massively on Ryan down the straight. So Foxblue setting fastest lap, so he's got the pace as well now. So the medium's now switched on for Foxblue. So this will be when we discover just exactly what he can do. But yeah, Ruddo, as I say, now in the DRS of Ryan. So this is where he's going to have to start making some moves.
Blackseye getting past Daryl. That's for 10th place with a bit of DRS. But Daryl is not going to take this one sitting down. He's going to have DRS of his own. And Blackside will send him round the long way. Got very, very close, and maybe a bit of slight touch of contact, but Daryl goes round the outside to Cedar Delago to retake that 10th place, so he's definitely here to fight for some positions, and Foxblue just 3/10 away. Ruddo outside that 1 second of Ryan as we head through this middle sector.
Yeah, and Ryan's going to have DRS here from JP as well, so this could be a little bit of a help to him. Ruddo, yeah, just flirting with the DRS range there, but I think he may be out of it.
Yeah, he's definitely not in it. Meanwhile, Ryan's getting a nice healthy dose, and he'll have another dose down towards Decido Delago. Oh, instead he almost has a spin. He loses the back end, and Ruddo was going to have a great chance coming out of turn 3. He's going to have a much better momentum, some DRS for good measure, and the McLaren will take the net lead of this race. Just that one tiny mistake, the thing, a little bit too much curb from Ryan, or he just lost the rear mid-corner, and that's costing the lead of this race.
Yeah, we're down to a four-man fight for the race as well now as it stands here. Matty's been involved with this fight with Pampo, and they're now 5 seconds behind the guys in front. So, yeah, that's really scuppered Matty's plans of getting into that podium position. So, yeah, we are looking at a great fight now between Ruddo, Ryan, Ivan, and Foxblue.
Foxblue all over the back of Ivan. Now we're kind of assuming that Foxblue, being the reserve, is counting for points. So Ruddo kind of wants Foxblue in these podium positions, just to put another car between him and Ivan. I mean, at the moment, Ruddo's doing a good job. I think that's JP finally comes in the pits after 26 laps on those tyres. That's an impressive stint from the Aston Martin, but he now releases the McLaren, which has the Ferrari right on his tail. And meanwhile, Foxblue looking for a good exit down towards Decido Lago with DRS, but Ivan's going to have the same advantage.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying before. It's that trickiness, isn't it? You know, okay, he's going to be a lot faster in the middle sector, but with car placement from the guys in front, you can't get past. You cannot make a move when the guys are this close competitiveness-wise. So he is looking at the DRS zones, but if everyone in front of you has got DRS, your car ain't going to be much faster. Unfortunately, you don't have the joys of the Red Bull in real life in equal performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I think even in realistic performance, it's going to be tough to overtake around here on Thursday. Even with the difference in the cars, I think it's only really going to be the two main big straights as we're seeing tonight. But Foxblue still looking for some form of move, and you kind of feel his kind of window of opportunity here is, whilst it's still slightly early, it will come and go quite quickly.
Yeah, definitely. The wear is going to come into these tyres. I mean, he pitted quite late, so I don't think he's going to suffer from extreme tyre wear towards the end of the race. He's got to get a move done on Ivan very, very soon if he wants to get to the front of the field, because he's just a little bit too far behind.
And not to give away any figures, but ERS, the top 3 have fairly equal ERS. Foxblue has a little bit less than those ahead of him, and Matty Rudge dropped 1.2 to Pampoen here, and he now has Ricky Maru on his tail, so that McLaren, it doesn't look like, for Matty Rudd at least anyway, it doesn't seem to like these hard compound tyres.
Yeah, we saw him have a few wiggles on the medium tyres, so maybe he's just finding that the hard tyres. And Foxblue's got a run on Ivan. Massive run on Ivan.
He's going down the inside.
Ryan on Ruddo.
Yeah, we're going to go to the fight for the first as Ryan goes down the inside from the McLaren. Foxblue gets past Ivan, but here comes Ruddo. He's going to have the second bite of the cherry down towards Decido Lago. I don't think there's going to be a lot that Ryan can really do about it. I say that as Ryan stays ahead, and it just looked like Ruddo decided he was going to stick him behind for now.
Yeah, again, I think maybe a little bit of management going on there from Ruddo. I think Ryan, I didn't see, but maybe spammed the ERS a little bit there to stay ahead, which is great in the short term, but it could leave him susceptible in the long run.
So the Rubico de Pato for the 29th time of 36. Foxblue will be looking for another move, this time on Ruddo. Ruddo will be hoping that he can get back past Ryan and keep 2 cars between him and Ivan, because that would certainly reduce the gap enough to make the Portuguese round of round 15 incredibly exciting. And Ivan already 6/10 behind Foxblue. He's going to have to be careful that he doesn't drop outside here. I mean, he's a long way off yet, but 6/10 is not really a number you kind of want to have on your delta to other people.
No, definitely is vitally important. He stays within that DRS zone. Again, now Ruddo's sat behind Ryan. There's no way Fox Blue is going to get through in this middle sector. It's a bit of patience, really, but Ruddo has to now just build everything up for a big attack.
Yeah, and Fox Blue's tyres 7 laps old. We know that the likes of Ruddo and co went around 16 laps on their mediums, so they're definitely going to last. It just depends on how they wear, because obviously Fox Blue's mediums are only 7 laps new. As Ricky Maru, who has got past Matty Rudd, has now got past Pampoen, and Matty Rudd gets past Pampoen as well for 6th place, so Pampoen suddenly losing 2 places in 1 on his 15-lap-old hard tyres.
Yeah, I didn't quite see. It must have been a small mistake there from Pampoen for that to happen, but Ruddo, not a great line through Ruddo there, through turn 1 and 2. So I think Ryan's going to be safe on this run through now, down to turn 4. Fox Blue. Ivan is 8/10 down now, so yeah, as you say, he's got to be very, very careful here.
I mean, the other question here for Ryan is he's on 14-lap-old hard tyres. Now, they're not, as we know, they're not necessarily going to be massively worn come the end of this race. They're not going to be pretty. But, I mean, you said when Ruddo came out, those 3 laps difference could be quite a major effect come the end of this race as the tyres degrade.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, it's not going to be massive delta difference between the 2 sets of tyres, but it could just be enough to just make that difference, really, as we hit the last couple of laps. But, Fox Blue looking like he's got a bit of a run on Ruddo here. Really? Is it enough?
Fox Blue's lights flashing, so he's not got any ERS to play with. He makes a dive down the inside, but it doesn't pay off for him. He wisely backs out of that, and that's going to be very helpful to Ruddo because it's going to give him some breathing room. Pampoen gets past the McLaren of Matty Rudd. Ivan has a small cheeky look to the inside to see Delago, but thinks better of it for now. And
yes, there was a slight bit of contact between Ruddo and Fox Blue. I think Ruddo tried to give Fox Blue as much room as he could, but still a little bit of tyre contact. But luckily, nothing serious coming of it.
Well, Matty Rudd gets back past Pampoen. Pampoen looks to the outside of Ferrajora, and wisely thinks that's not the move I want to make.
And Ginger Tiger creeping up on the pair as well, so it could be a 3-car battle for 6th place very, very shortly.
I don't know if that was a bit of decent, but I thought someone went very sideways then. Ruddo's lost a chunk of time to Ryan. I don't think I'm wrong. Just have a look at the stream. Yeah, Ruddo had a bit of a twitch coming out of Biko to Pato. He's still got a little bit of work to do. He's lucky that he's still got that DRS at the moment to reel Ryan back in and continue to put pressure on the Ferrari.
Yeah, it must be said Ryan's doing the fan Pampoen and Matty Rudd swapping places again, and maybe again.
Yeah, it's a good, nice switchback from Matty Rudd as Pampoen went deep. Ginger Tiger now looking to make a move. We've got Atsu, I think that's spun up at Essa. And Ginger Tiger goes past Pampoen on this lap. Matty Rudd stays 6th for now. Matty Rudd on the younger tyres compared to Ginger Tiger and Pampoen, which you'd think should help him a little bit. Atsu just staying out of the way of the leaders, which is good stuff from him.
Yeah, you can see that the hard tyres now starting to struggle a little bit. It's hard to get the power down, but you'd have to think maybe Fox Blue's tyres now are also starting to struggle.
Yeah, and I think Fox Blue is definitely one that uses ERS a lot more compared to those in front of him. Ruddo very close now to Ryan, and you get the sense that now Ruddo's kind of wanting to pressurise Ryan enough to cause him to use his ERS so that he does have that advantage, and Atsu retires in this race. Ruddo looks to the inside to see Delago, thinks better of it.
As I say, Ruddo's in that position where he's ahead of Ivan. he wants to win. He's obviously 100%. Everyone wants to win, but he's also got to be very careful he doesn't throw it away here and spin out, because the last thing he wants to do now is drop points to Ivan. So it'd be a case of a measured approach as to when to go for that move if he can make it at all.
The thing is, he's got a 4-point difference to Ivan here. If he gets past Ryan, that becomes 7, because Ivan doesn't have the fastest lap. JP911 does, although he doesn't really count. So you're looking at the next T2 driver.
Redo on his way
to the inside, and penultimate lap, Ruddo takes the lead. Ryan trying to hang around the outside. Space given. This is good driving from the pair. And Ruddo
is going to come through.
Oh, and Ruddo just about covers off Fox Blue there. They're going to be looking to go 3 wide. And Ruddo down to 3rd as we head into the Cedar de Lago, side by side with Fox Blue. Very close racing, but Ruddo sticks it to the inside. Pampoen is out of this race. He's in the pits, I think. A bit of a weird decision. He was driving quite well. Ferrajora, and Ruddo thinks better of it. But he's got his championship rival just behind. Ivan having a look into S and just not quite fast enough to draw alongside. And that's really not helped Ruddo there.
No, but Ruddo going for the race lead and now ends up in 3rd. He is still ahead of Ivan, so not the end of the world, but a bit of a disaster. So that slight bit of contact slowed them both up, invited Fox Blue into the fight, and that was that, as we head on to our final lap.
So up onto the final lap we go. Ryan has an 0.8 of a second gap to Ruddo. Everyone running out of ERS at this stage.
Oh, Ivan has absolutely planted the back of Ruddo and sailed off. And I think that's going to allow Ricky through. Ivan has missed his braking by a mile. Absolute mile. And
the question is, obviously, is there any damage to Ivan? Because obviously, Matty Rudd and co are not necessarily that far behind, but if he's got wing damage, that's going to cost him a lot of time through that middle sector. I think I definitely did see something come off of the car. So yeah, that's massive. That's an incredible mistake from Ivan there, and a very uncharacteristic mistake for him, I must say. Yeah, unusual to see Ivan make a mistake, but championship titles and battles for championships do make people kind of do things they wouldn't normally do. That sort of pressure. But Ryan, who has driven absolutely spectacularly tonight, you have to give it to him. He's going to come out as Young Cow. He's 7/10 clear of Fox Blue, so he's not going to get caught by him. Up to the line, and it's going to be the Ferrari driver who wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's a fantastic race from him. Fox Blue comes home in 2nd place with Ruddo in 3rd. Ricky Maru will take 4th place. Ivan's going to hang on to 5th, which is very lucky to do for now. Matty Rudd in 6th. Ginger Tiger 7th. Blackside will finish 8th on track, but courtesy of track limit penalties, JC Batagall will get 8th place in the end. And Darrell will claim 10th in this race. A top 10 result for the Tier 3 driver. He's going to be very happy with that. Yeah, crazy stuff there at the end. And yeah, as I say, massively uncharacteristic of Ivan to make that mistake. He was very lucky because he did sail off at a fairly high speed as well. So lucky really only to get a slight bit of front wing damage. And if he'd have actually taken off the front wing fully, then I'm sure Matty would have definitely got past him as well. So you see the podium there. Fantastic to see Ryan. Oh, you can't deny that result from Ryan. That was a superb drive from start to finish. And he really did manage that race quite nicely, considering he did have those older tyres. Yeah, definitely. His car placement was fantastic when defending. He was using the ERS to defend at the right times, and yeah, as you say, a fully deserved race win there for Ryan. Almost faultless, really, other than a couple of twitches here and there that you caught. But yeah, brilliant. Bruce, would you like to take us through the provisional results for the Brazilian Grand Prix?
Absolutely. So yeah, Ryan, as you say, wins the race. Fantastic result in the Ferrari with the Fox Blue on debut taking second. Ruddo third with Ricamaru taking a late fourth place from Ivan after his mistake. Matty Rudd in sixth. Ginger Tiger seventh with JC Battle in eighth. Blackside ninth. Darrell in 10th. And retirements or classified as Pampoen and JP, but retirements are Pampoen, JP, Atsu, Offic Red, and Kent, all of which I think they all retired in the pit. So again, as per last night, no crashes on track, all pit lane retirements.
Yeah, it's a very, very good thing to have. I'm just messaging the group to get drivers in, as Fox Blue has managed to join us, which is good to see. Just a reminder for Ruddo and Fox Blue, please make sure you do have your voice shared so the wonderful audience can hear you. Otherwise, it's going to be a very muted interview. Hopefully, we'll get a write-up from Ryan regarding his race, but we'll start off with Ruddo. Congratulations, Ruddo. Another podium for you. Obviously, you went for the lead late on in the race, but it just didn't quite pan out.
Yeah, cheers. I misjudged because I thought it was the last lap. So I'd like saved all my RS and then used all my RS down the straight and then onto that second one thinking like, okay, great last lap. But I guess luckily as I was coming around the last corner when I was third, I was thinking, oh, I've got another lap here. So yeah, that was so intense. It was just like concentration from the whole way. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really good. I thought Fox Blue and Ryan like drove really well. So I thought Fox Blue would come through a bit quicker on his mediums. But yeah, really good race. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you went longer than Ryan in terms of your strategy. Was that purely from because of the warm up on the hards and maybe trying to use them for as little time as you possibly could get away with, because they are naturally slow around here?
Yeah, I was happy on my mediums, and I always give it an extra couple of laps in case of a safety car and things like that. And then obviously Matty and I were close to double stack, so he boxed off I think the same time as Ivan, because I said I wanted to go one longer. So I was happy with that. I was happy with the tyres at the end, but yeah, pretty good.
Now, obviously, we're gonna, as per normal, we're gonna touch on it. Obviously, you've finished P3, which is 10 points. Ivan P5, which is 6. That's 4 points taken out of him tonight. Which means this gap for the lead now is down to 3. This, surely for you, this now has a really good fight for you at Algarve and Portugal for the finale of this championship.
Yeah. I wasn't entirely sure the scores after that round, but we'll give it a go. Like I keep saying, this is about the constructors for me, for myself and Matty, and we're constantly just saying, look, we've just got to get around. I don't know. I think Rise Keza wasn't racing, which is a bit of a shame, because we would have liked to have gone sort of head to head. But yeah, look, we'll give it a go. There's some seriously fast guys here. And we'll just see what happens in Portugal. There's no pressure on me to do anything for it, really.
Absolutely. Bruce, any questions for Ruddo?
Yeah, well done on another podium, mate. All season, or especially the latter half of the season, you and Ivan have been driving pretty faultless, really, and banging in the results. But how surprised were you to see Ivan make that mistake on that last lap? It seemed seemingly out breaking himself and colliding. I think it was the back end of you. I think he may have touched. But yeah, how surprised were you to see him make that mistake?
Yeah, it caught me by surprise because I was really focused on the people in front. It didn't look close enough to make a move, so I don't know if he was making a move or just made a mistake. But yeah, I think luckily it's not affected my race on that. There's nothing I could have done about it. So for me, I was thinking, with Ivan in fourth for me and second. I wanted to go for the race win, just to try and build up that gap for the constructors. But I want to win the race. But like I say, the other guys were super fast, super clean. Really enjoyed it. I was a bit worried after quali. I thought Fox Blue would walk away with it, but I think he gave us a chance starting on the hards.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Redo, on third place. We'll come to Fox Blue. What a debut, second place at the end of it all, and some fantastic racing. But you had a nice temperament there on the hard, sticking with those on the medium tyres.
Well, it was a difficult stint, definitely very difficult. Not much battery at all, keeping up with these, not very quick. Wish I started on the mediums though.
I mean, what was the idea behind starting on the hard compound in comparison to everyone? Were you expecting more to do it, or was it just something that you kind of thought of being different?
Well, in previous races around this track that I've driven, I've always started on the hards, and it's just been like a good luck kind of thing. Because the past 2 times I've done it, there's always been a safety car about lap 20, lap 21, which is perfect. Which I was obviously hoping for one from anywhere from like lap 18 to lap 22, but it didn't come. So it was obviously a very little chance, but it never came. So just fight then.
Obviously, here's your first race in IRL for this season anyway. I don't know about any previous ones, but I mean, the racing tonight was very impressive. I mean, how was the racing for you tonight? Because you were stuck pretty much in the middle of it all race long.
Yeah, obviously starting from pole, got a good first couple of laps, and then just got stuck in the middle. Everyone was clean, everyone was nice, very quick. Obviously keeping up with mediums on hards isn't easy. And then at the end, trying to fight the way through, obviously got past Ivan, not too difficultly on the straight. And then went side by side with Ruddo after whatever happened on that lap and got past.
Bruce, any questions for Fox Blue?
Yeah, well done on the podium, mate. Great result. As you sort of mentioned, you ran a fairly elongated stint on the hards, which enabled the guys that had just pitted for hards to close that gap slightly. So when you came out the pits on the mediums, you were sort of in a net fourth place. Do you think in hindsight you maybe would have changed that now and pitted slightly earlier, so you sort of came out still at the front of the guys?
Probably not, just because at the end my tyres were falling off a cliff, like they were gone. And also it was obviously, at the time, I was trying to wait out for a safety car that never came. So I guess maybe I would have gone in maybe a lap or 2 earlier, but then it really would have been pushing the tyres at the end.
So congratulations on second place. We do have a write-up from Ryan. So obviously congratulations to Ryan on his victory. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his first victory this season. Not his first podium. He's had 2 second places this season. But Ryan has said it's good to finally get a win. Top 4 were so close. Just unfortunate that someone had to miss out. He had good pace on the first stint and managed to climb to P1. Didn't quite have the same pace on the hard tyres. Said Roddo was probably a little quicker on the hard stint. And Roddo drove a great race as usual. Just obviously well done to everyone, and great to see a race with no safety car, which is always a good thing to have. And Bruce, just as a bit of a funny thing, we have got some information from Darryl that he was in 8th place, and for not for the first time, he ran out of fuel, so ended up 10th.
Yeah, I've also received that bit of information too. So yeah, a bit of a shame for Darryl. He was having a really good race there as well, and leading the tier 3 boys. But yeah, maybe that's why you're so fast, is because you only had half of a race worth of fuel. Who knows?
Well, I checked the weight on the car. But obviously, that's Brazil done. The championship, as far as we are aware, obviously pending other things and such like. 3 points going into Portugal, and Portugal is a roller coaster track. It's going to bring mistakes, and with it, it's going to open up this championship that I think we're going to have a really good fight to finish off the Tier 2 season.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's the chance that with the points gap being so close, we could end up being tied on points going back to count back on race wins, etc. So, as well. So, I think, Ruddo's done a great job recently of closing that gap to Ivan, and it sets us up for a great finale next week.
Absolutely. Well, that is all the time we have for the Invictus Racing League Tier 2 from Brazil in partnership with gridfinder.com. Obviously, if you have liked the stream, obviously the racing's been fantastic tonight, so if you liked and enjoyed the stream, make sure you do like it and subscribe to the Invictus Racing League channel, because we do have more live racing coming up this week and next week as we come to the end of Season 16. Tomorrow we have Tier 1 from the Brazilian Grand Prix. That's brought to you by myself and Webbo. And on Thursday, we have the Realistic Performance League, brought to you by Tim and Malc. And then obviously, next week, we have the final round at Algarve in Portugal. And it's going to be a stellar for at least the Tier 3 and Tier 2 championships going down to the wire. Tier 3 on Monday, brought to you by Joe and Ewan. Me and Bruce will be back for the finale of Tier 2 next Tuesday. So make sure you have your notifications on to make sure you don't miss it, because it is going to be a thriller. But from myself and Bruce and everyone here at Tier 2 of Invictus Racing League, thank you for watching, and see you again.